Anyway, my name is Bobby. My last name is Gropper, but don't even attempt to find that anywhere because if you look under Bobby Salsa, if you Google the word Bobby Salsa, yeah, there are some other Bobby Salsas out there, but trust me, I am the one and only. I was born in Poughkeepsie in the early 60s. I was very fortunate to have grown up in Poughkeepsie. Graduated Ketchum High School in the late 70s, just by a little bit, 79. Was fortunate to have gone to college at Alfred University, which is in Western New York. I have a double major, accounting and marketing. I knew I wanted to use some of my interest in business, and I didn't know exactly which way, but I was very fortunate to have been recruited. This is all part of the credentials, by the way. When you do public speaking, give a little credentials. Does this guy have anything to say here? Forget about it. He makes a good salsa. I was recruited in the senior year of my college life. I had a job in public accounting, which I will tell you honestly was 10 months of my most miserable. 10 months. It was the most miserable part of my life in 10. Whatever. Yeah. Public accounting was not the right direction for me. Even though I was recruited, I had this job before Thanksgiving. It just wasn't meant to be. Direct route sometimes, and you guys are down here today. Thank you for giving up this morning. We want to make sure that you've taken more than one bit of information, maybe two bits of information, and all I ask when you leave today, if you can say, I got that much out of it, or I got that much out of it, or I'm really thrilled and I'll be buying your salsa forever and ever because you really inspired me, or any of the above. I want you to know that I, too, am passionate about what I do. Because although I started in one direction in the early 80s going in the public accounting field, life tends to take different charge of things. My dad was a very successful businessman in Poughkeepsie in the printing industry. I've always thought I would work with him. I had the opportunity growing up as a kid, working many hours side by side. I never really understood what it meant. I never had those father-son chats or hitting the baseball. I'm going to start crying here as I think about it. I swear to God, I never remember my dad throwing a ball to me. I don't remember. But to me, my dad telling me, lift that pallet of paper and move it from here to there. And to me, that's what my life was. So my wife and business partner is reminding me, you really got screwed up as a kid. So now I've screwed up my kids. Okay, my children, my daughter is a senior at Ithaca College, graduating in integrated marketing communications, considering all kinds of great career paths. Probably like our colleague Marcus says, she may end up in New York City because that's where the money is. That's maybe where she'll end up, and she's part of that generation. She's instantaneously in the loop. And just a million things going through my head. So that's my daughter, and then my son is going to probably pursue some other career, culinary arts. I've tried to talk him out of doing that. I interact with a lot of executive chefs, a lot of great people in the hospitality business. But when you're passionate about it, he's seen some happiness that I've had. He's going to go in that direction. So whether it's a CIA, culinary in Hyde Park, or Johnson Wales, we'll see. Life will take it where it's meant to be. But I did work in the family printing business. I worked in all different aspects of it till my father passed away in 1985. So it only gave me about a year and a half to really work directly with him. I was 24 years old, telling about 50 employees, hey, your boss is not coming into work. That is not something you ever want to be doing. Okay, that's not customer service. It's just part of growing up. You have to deal with those things. So, Linda mentioned about how do I stay focused. Let me tell you something. I fake it really well. Okay, I got to get at some point back to path here. What am I going to talk about? And I didn't plan to be in the food business. It kind of happens. Things happen, but you have to kind of work at it in order to continue to be successful at it. We still meet that definition of a very, very small business. We have done many more stores over the years. We've had a lot more locations where I'm traveling from New Jersey and parts of New York City. But you know what? I found my core, and it's taken a while to come back. Now that's not necessarily, that's kind of staying focused. It's also a little bit of the accounting, realizing, why did I do that? You got to kind of go through it. I don't care. Someone's going to tell you these things. You're going to have to really experience it yourself. I don't care. You're going to have to find out for yourself. Just like someone could say, I heard some thank you for those nice comments about how nice the salsa is, but until you try it, you don't know. And maybe it's not what you like. I'm not sure I really should be in this side as far as customer service, because our business doesn't have a customer service department. But I don't think you guys either have customer service. You are it. So when you're actually going through the motions of doing all those other things that you do, you also are going to be kind of focused on, okay, well, how am I coming across to that person that's ultimately going to be my customer or has been my customer? Maybe I need to go back in, or maybe it's someone else out there, or you got a review from, I hear issues all the time. You talk about TripAdvisor. I mean, people are going to say things. I have to tell you, I know as incredible as it sounds, I've had people tell me they don't like the salsa. They don't exist as far as I'm concerned. They don't exist anymore. No, but they do, because there's something that they've experienced that doesn't please them. But you can't please everyone.
That's for sure.
And maybe that's kind of my mantra. You can't please everyone. But try and understand what you're about, what you're good at, and focus a little bit more on making, talk about opening up your own store. I got to tell you, this 2014 is not a banner year for me in my business. My cost of ingredients are sky high, the highest I've ever paid. All 4 items, and I love when customers tell me, do you have a salsa, Bobby, without onions? God, this week I wish I didn't, because onions are the most I've ever paid in 21 years in the salsa business. The second most expensive item would be green bell pepper. Oh my God. Right? So, I don't have any control over those things. Please keep in mind, there's a very big difference. I heard some items over there. It's a very big difference between, when you look at your business, your core, between marketing in general and all those factors that you control and where customer service fits within that. I'll talk a little bit more about that because I am a student. Again, I am a student of marketing first and foremost, but you control a lot of these factors. One of the things I need to do right now is to practice something I wanted to let Diane know. When you talk too much, as I tend to do, think about what, I'll never forget this, my dad, I miss him terribly. Stop talking and listen a little bit more because we have 2 of these.
And 1 mouth.
We have 2 of these. So every time, just maybe hold on to them. Imagine going to a business meeting. But at least, for a second or two, think about, what am I here for? I need to first listen, as we tried to do with you guys, to understand where you are in the process.
Thank you, Bobby. I just want to give you some little nuggets about how we got started, what put us into this business. For some of you that may not know, we do bra-fitting, and it's a basic foundation for women, especially since it's something that most of us don't really know much about. And how we would get into this area, I thank Gail so much, because truly Gail is my rock, is my best friend. But Gail knew that she was in the wrong size for most of her life, but just didn't know what to do with it. And that's usually the case with a lot of the customers that we serve. And one day she was in a boutique buying a purse, and she saw a sign that said bra fitting by appointment. She got really very excited about that and called and made an appointment for herself to get fitted. Now, Gail and I are like best friends. Like I said, we're like sisters. And so we do and did a lot of things, most things together. But somehow or another, she forgot about me.
I didn't think she had the need.
She didn't
that
think I had the kind of need that she had, but I would have gone for moral support. Nothing else. But anyway, bosom buddies for sure. The day of the appointment, we're talking, and she tells me that she's going for this bra fitting appointment, and I said, and I don't know about this. Why? How could I not know about this? So she said, oh, there's a disconnect. I can't really hear you. I'll try to call you right back. And she called the woman who she made the appointment with and asked if she could bring her sister with her. And so the two of us went together, and it absolutely changed our life. And so what our clients experience every day, we can relate to over and over because it happened to us first. And Gail had done, in addition to the administrative things that she had done a lot of things with direct sales. And so that was an area that she was very strong in. I had no clue about it. I was her sidekick when she did paintings and things like that for 10 years, but really had no clue about that whole concept. And even though oftentimes she would try to recruit me, I always said no, because I said I couldn't sell water in the desert. Forget about it. It's just not who I am. But this woman who fit us was doing it from her home, and when we finished, we were sitting in the car in her driveway, and Gail looked at me and she said, we can do this. There's got to be a lot of other women who are suffering the way that we have suffered. And I said to Gail, without any hesitation, yeah, we can.
That was the song.
And I was looking around later on to say, who said that? Because we're talking about selling something. That's just not me. But what I found is, because of the experience that I had, and the way we do our business today, it was something that I don't sell. It is something that there's a passion deep within me that wants every woman to have that experience, because it really is an experience. And that's what, to me, the core of customer service is really about. Creating an experience for your client or your customer. Because when they have a great experience, especially women, we talk. And when you have something great, good, bad, or different, actually, you want to tell everybody in the world about it. And that's how I felt. Once it happened to me, I wanted to share it. I wanted to tell it. And we do that every day. And so we are extremely passionate about what we bring to the table to women, what we are able to do for them to change their life, because it is life-changing. And as a result of that, the sale pretty much automatically happens. So I would say you have to start with something that you're passionate about, because it's not going to be a job. You've probably all had a job at some point or another, and you did the work, but when it's deep down in your core, you do above and beyond. And you want not only to be happy yourself, but you want to reach out to that person that you're having an interaction with and make them feel what you're feeling. So that, I think, is the beginning of customer service, is having that passion for it. So Measure to Fit this year will be celebrating its 7th year. We've come a long way. Thank you. And originally, we started small. We didn't have capital other than our 401k that we could pull from to get started. And we started in the basement of my townhouse. My kids were all grown, out of the house finally. I have 3 of them. And I had a basement that had its own entrance. So we renovated the basement to start Measure to Fit. And we were there for 4.5 years until we truly were bursting at the seams. We wanted to expand our inventory. We wanted to expand into swimwear, which is one of the areas that women from the beginning told us we needed to be in, but we had no more room to do it. Because our business is so customer-based, our clients who enjoyed the privacy and the intimacy of coming to the home and having this nice reception area to sit out in, and television for their children or their significant other was really great. They were concerned about us moving, and so we assured them that Measure to Fit is not a business that would ever be in a mall, because it is personal. When people come to us, women leave there feeling like their family, because that's how we treat them. Because every woman that walks in that door is like family to us. They are extremely important. And for most women, they're either moms, wives, a caregiver, or all of the above sometimes. And most times we're giving to other people. And so when they come there, you may be empty. And it's all about that woman. It's all about you when you come through those doors. We do absolutely everything to take care of you, because it may be the only time that you actually get that experience. So it really is an experience for us. So we found a wonderful location, Gail did, and it's private for our clients. It meets their needs. However, as a retailer, it's visible. So we're off of Route 9, but you can see Route 9 from where we are. So it's in a location that works for everyone. We didn't know when we first got that location that it's actually a road that a lot of women, or especially women or people in general, that they use as a shortcut to either get to the other end of Route 9 or 9D. So that actually worked out very well in our favor. So it's really important, like I said, to start with that passion, and everything just kind of blossoms from that point.
I want to make a point while you're on passion. In our research, I was reading in a book that someone said there's 3 things that you should never do in going into business. One is you should never go into business with a friend. 2, you should go into a business that you're familiar with. We had no clue. And the 3rd is that you should never start a business without a business plan. We just got one in the Wesley class a couple of years ago. So those are all of the don'ts.
Right.
Time out.
The odds
Time
were
out.
against us.
Time out. All those things.
Yeah.
You got a business plan at least.
Exactly.
Now we do. Now we
Yes.
do, 6 years later. But the most important do is what Beverly was speaking about, is the passion. If you have the passion, and that was also something that we read, that you have to have the passion, because as we all know, that running your own business is a lot of work. It's a lot of things that we had no clue that we were going to have to get involved with, that because we didn't have a clue. And but it's that passion, the smile on the faces of the women that we help, the life-changing event in itself is what keeps you going, and you have to have that passion. So nothing
Right.
else. Hopefully that everyone will have that.
Right. Talking about the focus and being able to have that smile on your face when you really don't feel like it, that's where that comes from. That's what helps to push you through to do what you don't think you have any more to muster up to be able to do. Just knowing that you have something that is valuable helps you to be able to do that. Focusing for me is difficult sometimes because I'm kind of all over the place. Gail helps me to focus because she's really good at making lists and kind of keeping things together. So having someone that balances you out is also important if you can. If you don't have that luxury, I would say time blocking is really very important. We have a business coach that we've been meeting with for the last 3 years, is that right, Gail? Who's absolutely phenomenal and has been the core that's helped us to get to the point where we have a storefront. Something that in our minds seemed so far down the road because of what we were limited with as far as capital was concerned. But having someone that can kind of bring you back and kind of say, these are the things that you need to work on. Because there's always going to be a lot of things that you need to work on. But having that time blocking and say, I'm going to work on this for a half hour, 2 hours, whatever that time period is, and not letting other things come into the picture. For me, for most of my career, I've been a night person. I don't function well until about 10 o'clock most times. But what I found is, as a business owner, I had to flip it because I found that I wasn't as effective as I thought that I was in the evening, or late 2 o'clock in the morning didn't really work as well as early morning. And as much as I didn't like being up early and getting things done, it was a lot quieter. And my brain, because it wasn't fully stimulated, I could focus a lot better on the things that I needed to work on. So finding that time to be able to just focus on one thing it's amazing how much comes from that. And you really are in a position to better serve your customers by being focused, by meeting those needs that they need to be cared for. One of the things that we pulled out from this great book, a dear friend of ours, Carol Hetty, did a book called Turning Rants into Raves. She did it in conjunction with Randy, is it Bousse?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we pulled out some nuggets that we thought that would be helpful to you. One of the things that it said is that customer loyalty drives profitability. So what happens with people in general, and especially women, is that it costs 5 times more to acquire a new customer than it does to retain an existing one. So it's really important to know your customer, because when you know your customer, you're able to pull out what that customer needs. So, Cassandra, you were talking earlier about wanting to be there for that customer for the long haul. And when you know about that person, it's a lot easier to do that. So in your conversation about, you know, you're visiting with Sally and you're talking and she needs a home and all that kind of stuff, you're gonna find out about Sally's family. You're gonna find out about her friends, so that Sally feels like she's got a personal relationship with you. Because when a woman feels that she has a personal relationship with you, she will go above and beyond to help you past what she already needs. That's one of the things that we experience in our business, is that women refer easily. When a woman is happy, she will tell all of her friends, her family, she'll drag them in. When she's unhappy, she will tell all of those people and more. So you certainly want to keep her on the side where she's happy. Men are a little bit different because they don't pull from the emotions, but what we found is that in most situations, it's really the woman who's the decision maker. We like to make the guy think that he is, which is perfect if you're doing it right, but it's really the woman who makes that decision. So when you have a woman who calls you and she's panicked because she was working on something and the computer screen blanked out, she's in serious panic mode. And talking to her really means helping her to understand that you understand how urgent this is, that it's urgent to you too. Tapping into that place where she feels like she's in good hands makes all the difference. The marketing things, like we talked about, is really important, but there's nothing like that word of mouth. And happy customers refer. So it makes it really easy for you if you tap into that place where that's the core of what's important to her. If you really get to know that person and the things that are important to them. So for instance, a woman comes and she gets fitted, and during the fitting we talk and, you know, we really get to know her. She may come back if we needed to order something, or she may come back because she's bringing a family or friend. Well, what we strive to be able to do is when that woman comes in, we say, Michelle, hi, how was the event that you went to? If you were here you were getting fitted to go to a wedding, we say, Michelle, how was the wedding? Do you have pictures of it? You know, things like that to kind of tap in and let them know that they're just not someone passing through that we forget about. Now, we've got lots and lots of clients, and we're not able to do that with everyone. I mean, it may be someone who hasn't been there since 2010. It's kind of hard to remember that event that they had, but usually we try during the session to find something that will hold in our mind about that person. One of the other things that we do is a profile sheet, and we write notes. So when that woman comes back, we can look at that and have the notes about things that happened in her life, which is important. So that's one area. 4 business drives that are linked to attracting and retaining loyal customers. They're called the 4 R's. Gail, you want to do the 4 R's?
Well, the first one is revenue, which is, our bottom line. That's, the money we need to operate, the money that we need to get, draw cash for ourselves, a payment. So your customers, they give your company a larger percentage of their wallet share because they're bringing their money, their resources to you. And that adds to your bottom line, of course. So when people spend their money in your establishment, they come there not just for the product, but they come for the service. They come because they want to know that they are important to you. So that revenue is real important and is driven by excellent customer service. Number 2 is retention. You want to see the customer again. The business that we're in, our clients, they mainly come back because we established in the beginning that we were going to sell a quality product. So a lot of our clients, they come back because they want to come back, not because they have to come back. So having that customer retention is very important, making sure that they know that you're there for them. They can call if they have a need or if they just want to make another purchase or if they have questions about anything. Because we have clients that want family and friends to have the experience of Measure to Fit, but they live someplace else. So they'll even call us and ask, is there any place, in Tennessee, we just got an email this week, where my cousin lives that, needs to have this experience. And we hope that wherever they go, that they will. But we Googled it. And they could have done it. We could have just told them Google it. But no, we had our assistant to Google it and send them the specific places with the name of the place, the address, the phone number, and such for them to refer, that relative. And so that's something that they'll hold in their mind and that will bring them back to us for future services. And certainly referrals. In the beginning, our business card was our biggest marketing tool because our funds were extremely limited. We had to buy bras. We didn't have money to advertise on radio or television or any of those printed media, which can be very costly. This was our most useful tool in getting the word out. So we never gave out one card. We always gave 2, one for you and one for a friend. And then we instituted a client referral program, customer loyalty program, so that with each person that you refer and they come in, they spend $60, we will give you a referral point for them coming. And on this card, when it's not just referrals, but it's a combination of referrals and dollars spent, when the card is filled up, you can get a free item, and that can go toward a bra, can go toward swim, whatever. But that's our way of saying thank you for referring, because we know how important that word of mouth is. And then it's the reputation piece, and of course that speaks volumes about your company, including the public awareness, how people see you. There's a lot of times I'm on the road and they'll say to us, "Oh, you're the bra ladies," So that's who we are. We love it. It's fine. If you don't remember the business, they know who we are, and we appreciate that. And it's a lot of times just because of that experience that they've had with us. And we can't please everyone. We try very hard, but there are some clients that we're not able to meet all of their needs exactly the way they would like to have them met. And you just do the best that you can with everybody. And so those are the 4 R's. Is revenue, retention, referrals, and reputation.
So there are 5 principles that are building blocks to creating long-term customer service relationships. The first one is to think like an owner. And that's kind of tough sometimes because you have to take responsibility for the customers and anything that happens in that transaction. And when you have staff, it becomes even more challenging because the buck really stops with you. No matter what anybody does, it's your reputation, it's you who they connect all of that with. not that person that made the mistake. So thinking like an owner and really stepping up and taking ownership for that is going to be key, because people can appreciate if a mistake has been made and you own it. There have been situations, fortunately they're few, where a mistake has been made, or we had an issue with delivery and we weren't able to bring the product as we had expected to. But we own that. You know, we will say, we apologize, we're sorry that it happened that way, and this is what we're going to do to fix it. Because it diffuses that customer when you say, yeah, I screwed up. You know, I'm really sorry, I'm human, but yes, I did. Rather than trying to skirt around it or blame someone else. It goes a long way when you're able to do that. People really appreciate it. We talked about making your customer the top priority, basically. And people are, everybody wants to feel important. And you need to make them feel important. You need to make them feel like they are the only customer that you have. Because as people, that is important to us. That's something that is really key. Number 2 is building a relationship, and we talked a little bit about that in establishing a rapport with them, remembering events, and most importantly, thanking them. We find that people can go someplace else. With this day and age of internet, women can go online and buy their bras, especially after they've been fitted. So we appreciate that women continue to come and shop with us. That was one of the things that had us to create this customer loyalty program. And when women come in and they do purchase and they qualify, that's something that we do. We tell them that this is a thank you for you shopping, continuing to shop, and referring your family and friends, because that's very valuable. We're thankful for all the women that do. We have close to 3,000 clients, and there's only 2.5 of us, because we have our assistant who works part-time. But talking about passion, this woman is extremely passionate about our business. She started out as a customer, and as a customer, she would bring her family and friends, and she would pay for their first bra to get them started. That's how much she loved it. And then she volunteered for us. And we had a part-time person, one of my daughters was working for us, and when she moved away, we automatically brought her in as a part-timer. So she works part-time on the books, but she really works full-time. I mean, she gives her all because she believes in the product. So when you believe in your product, it's a lot easier for you to portray that to other people and get the assistance that you need to help you to be able to serve your customers better. Because with just Gail and I, it would be very difficult for us to really serve all of the customers that we have at the level that we want to. So having an additional person who's able to, send those emails to tell ladies their items are in, to draft things for us is really important, or even processing orders when they come in. It's lovely having someone. The third one is removing the roadblocks, and that's anticipating potential problems and taking care of them and solving them before they become issues for your customers. So really having some forethought about what is happening with your clients and what roadblocks might come up, especially if you're in time constraints. Depending on what's going on or even your business, sometimes you have to think about those things. I'm sure that there are things that you have to think about in scheduling events for people. Weather is always challenging for a lot of people, especially if you're talking about events and things like that. Anticipating what the pitfalls are. Certain times of year certainly indicate what the sales are going to be, how people are going to be coming in, what you want to offer to them to entice them to come in. Those are kinds of keys that we always have to think about when we're thinking about business, and trying to do things that will sort of cut it off at the head. so that it doesn't become an issue for your client, especially like with transportation and things like that. Those are little keys. Demonstrating a sense of empowerment comes under that too, because people look at you as the expert in whatever your area is. And so you have to walk in a way of empowerment where you're confident with yourself and you're able to empower that person that you're doing business with. The other one, number 4, is walking in your client's shoes and demonstrating sensitivity to their situation. We talked a little bit about that, and sort of putting yourself in their shoes and being able to understand how they're feeling, what's going through their mind, and anticipating how you're going to solve that problem. Offering something before they have to ask for it. And then number 5 is capture your customer's heart. And that we covered a little bit in talking about making them feel special. Personalizing that customer experience. Each experience that a woman has, even though there are some commonalities, it's always unique, because what you may need could be completely different from what she needs. And being able to make that tailor what you do to that person is really going to capture them to a place where they're going to remember you. They're going to think of you when they're talking to their friends and their friends are looking for a location to come to for their event. You want them to be, you to be top of mind. So when you're thinking about doing an event, each one I'm sure is different. And even though there may be certain things that you do the same across the board, it's personalized. When you're thinking about bringing that business into one location, you've got to really think deeply about what that customer is going to need. How does that affect it? What does it really bring to the table for them? How does it make it easier for them as opposed to you going to them? Case in point is when we first started out, one of the services that we provide are bra fitting parties. And when we first started out, when our inventory was small, we used to go to women's homes, we went to community centers, wherever the location was that they needed or wanted to have the event, we would schlep all our stuff. We had bins and suitcases and all kinds of stuff, and Gail had a van that we put all of these things in. And that was fine when we were small. But when we started to grow and expand, it was more difficult to do it. So we had to think about an incentive to give to women to be able to say, I want to have it at your store as opposed to you coming to us. And so we always had a program where you got incentives, financial incentives for coming. But what we did was we added an extra piece. Because women are really busy, they don't always have time or aren't always available to do all the upkeep that they need to do at their house. So having the party at Measure to Fit, we do all the work. There's no prep work. All we ask is that you invite your friends and bring some refreshments. We do all the cleanup. We have a refrigerator, microwave, whatever it is that they need, and they can bring basically anything that they would have in their home to the store. That was the niche, the piece that we needed to be able to offer to a woman to have her guests come to our store. And in the beginning, some of the questions that we got, at least one in particular, people were saying, well, my friends live in Kingston and they don't really want to drive all the way to Wappingers. Well, we said, if you were having a birthday party at the Villa Borghese, would they come from Kingston? Of course they would. So you're offering an opportunity for them, and if you're going to be there, they're going to come. And we found that as we continued to do it and people got to see all that we had that we weren't able to bring when we would come to their house, they were more open to doing it. And they found that it was really fun because we had more room, we could move a lot easier, a lot faster, get through the whole process a lot quicker. So it was to their advantage really to come to the store. So as you think about the changes in your business, You really always need to think about what you're offering to the customer. One of the things that we do is, which is different from some of the other parties, is that we have all the inventory there. So women can walk away with something. Some may have to order it if they want it in a different color, or if we don't particularly have their size in a particular style. But overall, they can walk away with things. And that was something that was helpful from the knowledge that Gail had from working in direct sales. She took all of the different things, the nuances that she encountered, and say, how can we make this better? And those are the things that we did. We said we want women to be able to walk away with those items and not have to order them. So we strive to, keep that inventory up to par while we can. And then exceeding the customer's expectation is part of that last piece. Women come not knowing what to expect. So that's kind of a bonus for us. But for you, thinking about your customer, what can you do that maybe no one else is doing? Or what can you do better than your competition? Always keeping your thinking and your mind on that customer. That is your focus. That really is that focus, is always thinking about them. And putting yourself in their shoes means become a customer. If you were a customer or your own customer, what would you want? How do you want to be treated? Those are the things that we think about. And, when we were getting our assistant, that's one of the things that we said. Think of yourself as a customer first. So when you're dealing with people, you're thinking how you would want to be treated. What would you be looking for? What would be the little extra that would make your life a little bit easier? One of the things that we do is, if someone has to order something, depending on the sale, we offer free shipping. And I know, some places do that online, but people don't expect that of a small business because we count every penny. But for key people, if you're spending money, we want to make it convenient for you, because as women, they're busy all the time. There's a lot going on, and sometimes it's difficult to make that time to come back, to try on, to pick up. So we do want to make it easier for them to be able to have something delivered. One of the things also additionally to that is we do it through U.S. mail. So you don't have to be home to sign for the UPS guy, or you get that little sticky and it says he was here and you were not, and you've got to wait for it. So those are the kinds of things that going that extra mile, doing that little extra, means a lot to retaining that customer.
One last piece of customer service that we provide is we also do private consultations. So if someone is homebound in a nursing home or at home and they need a bra fitting, we will come to them. We will go to them, and that is free of charge.
Our customers are, they can be very far removed, and then again, they could be when we do outdoor events. For years, we did Stormville Flea Market, and I got to tell you, thank God, my wife is jumping up and down saying, thank you for deciding not to go back. This is the first year we're not going back to Stormville Flea Market, based on a variety of strategic decisions and reasons and logic. But we decided to stay focused on maybe identifying other geographic areas that we have not served well, putting ourselves in that environment, either at a farmer's market or some special event, and sampling. Now that's marketing. But at the same time, it's customer service, because we're listening. We're listening where people like to shop. We're listening how they like to buy things. Probably the best example I can ever remember, when I thought I was going to still be in this business moving inventory the first couple of years with a Honda Civic that I used to deliver in these coolers. I used to take into New York City, and I would listen to the customers. They didn't want to buy the pound size. They would buy 2 8-ounce packages a week, or 3 or 4 a day, rather than buying this size. Because it's a different geographic area, they're more accustomed to going into the store and buying, what they need for that time. So, you got to listen based on what that customer might need at that given point. So that's really marketing. That's positioning yourself and responding accordingly. But I do have a little bit of an anecdote at Stormville. You hear all kinds of excuses. I love when someone comes up to me and they say, is this hot? Well, do they want to know? What do I take from that? Do they want to try this and they're afraid that it's hot? Or do they want the hot one?
Right.
What are they looking for?
Right.
So I'm thinking you gave great foundation here in terms of stuff, but I'm going to give you some examples. What was the question, and what were they really looking to hear as part of the answer?
Right.
Because a lot of times people don't ask the question they want to know the answer to.
This is true.
Oh, God, I still hear my dad say it. Well, what do you want to know? Not what are you asking? So maybe here's a tidbit. In each one of your businesses, go back and say, constantly ask this question, but I think what they really want to know is this. So it's a matter of when you're training your other staff in the buttermilk, or yourself in terms of in the computer side or any retail, what do they really want to know, and how can you format? Because customer service means it could be anything. It could be absolutely anything. The phone rings or somebody's standing in front of you. Well, what do they really want? Mm-hmm. And I think that that's probably of more value than anything else. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times they don't ask for what they want.
That's true.
And it's your job as the entrepreneur or the marketer to listen and maybe understand, they really wanted the hot one, but they were asking if this one was hot. Okay? And this one's sweet. This is cantaloupe that Diane likes. I'm going to be in trouble if I don't put some out later.
Yeah, you will.
That's exactly right. We had that same experience in our store, because when we start fitting a woman, the first bra we put on her and it looks great, she says, what size is this? What she really wants to know is what is her size. So we tell her, I'm not going to tell you what size this bra is, because what you want to know is what your size is. And when we get there, I promise I will tell you. Because that's really what's important to her. So it is true that you have to really know what it is that they want to know.
Yeah.
In order to help. Two quick things,
She
and
had
she has a question, and she has a question here. One of the things that someone said that they wanted to find out was kind of when and how to say no. And that's something that you have to tactfully do in helping the customer know that as much as you empathize with their need, you're doing them a service by saying no. But when you say no, you need to have a solution. So sometimes for us, the perception that a woman has of herself may not be the reality, but it's her reality. So we have to let her know that we understand her vision of herself, and that is important because that's what she lives with. But there's another way to go, and that helps her to continue to be your customer in some way or form, whether it's her personally or her referring. The second one was, I think it was you that said you wanted to not look like you feel, and really that's fake it until you make it.
How am I doing today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. It becomes easier as you do it, and it doesn't mean that you're not authentic. It means that you care about that client enough for them not to see what you're really feeling, because you can't help them if they see on your face or hear in your voice that you're not happy, you had a bad day, you didn't get any sleep, or any of those kinds of things. You wouldn't know that Gail and I only got 3 or 4 hours of sleep, would you? Preparing this presentation. But that's what I'm talking about. That's how you do it. You fake it until you really make it.
I'm a bottom line. Bottom line is they're not a customer until they've
That's right.
really come to the table with the way that they're going to pay for what it is you want.
Because being a customer is a
Get it?
transaction. It's a two-way street.
I have a customer service solution. Do you take credit cards?
Not yet.
Okay, do you have a smartphone?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm
Two
in the
options customer service-wise.
Yep.
Almost every smartphone out there has the capability of getting an attachment. There are a variety of them out there. I'm not going to propose one or the other. We happen to use the Square, little tiny thing where you can take somebody's card. And you know what? I love when I'm outside doing an event and someone says to me, I'm so sorry I don't have cash on me.
Yeah.
No problem. I'll hold on to your credit card until you come back with cash, or better yet, give me your credit card, I'll swipe it. One of the two things.
Makes it easy.
You know, because it's not going to pay my onion bill.
That's right.
Not going to pay my rent. Okay.
And you have to have policies because that helps you not to get yourself into trouble down the line.
And you can
Doesn't
always
matter
refer
if it's
to
a
that.
friend, it
Our
doesn't matter if
policy
it's a
is.
family
And
member,
that's it.
whatever that is. If
Okay.
there
That's
isn't
all
money in
policies.
hand,
Alright.
it doesn't go. So sometimes we will order things for women to try if we're looking for something specific. And there's no obligation to that because without the money in hand, it doesn't belong to them. So if when it comes and we contact them and tell them it's here, they have a window of time to come and try on that item to see if it works. When that time limit is up, it goes on the rack. It gets sold to somebody else because there's no money in our hand.
Okay.
Because that's why people do come back to us. Because they say they've been to Macy's, JCPenney, all those different stores that claim that they do fit in, but they don't give them the customer service. And that's what brings people back. That's that retention.
You're a great group of people. Thank
Yes,
you
you
for
are.
that.
Great, thank you.
And hopefully we address your questions and your concerns. If not, certainly feel free.